when it comes to God, there are certain things we know, certain things we don't know, right? What we do know is God is the one that created everything, and He gave revelation, right? Now the revelation comes from God, right? So God is the one that's telling us what to do. We as human beings need to obey what God says. That's the humble position. It says it in the Quran. He creates. So, for example, worship.
So servitude.
I just touched. Yeah, servitude. Exactly.
So basically, God is justifying slavery.
God is telling human beings we were created to. Let me just finish the point. God created human beings to worship Him, to submit to Him, to be His slaves. Right. What we say in Islam is when you submit yourself to your Creator, to God alone, you actually free yourself from slavery of the world and created things.
He's asking for blind servitude and faith and devotion. That's slavery.
Well, there's an assumption on your part. There's not a blind. He's not calling to blind faith. There's no such thing in Islam.
Well, if you say that's an assumption on my part, how is it not a presupposition on your part when you ask me to believe in God? Do you understand what presupposition is?
Are you referring to what I spoke about?
When you talk about when you ask someone to believe in God without any kind of proof, you're presupposing the existence of God.
Well, firstly, the specific talk was about. Let me just finish the point. The talk was about a certain point about meaning and purpose, right? It wasn't God's existence. I may do that next time I come in. But that being said, when it comes to God's existence, I think let's start with there, because that's the most fundamental thing. Because once you begin there, then you can move on, right? Otherwise, everything else is superfluous. It doesn't make any sense if you don't start with God's existence. When it comes to God's existence, my position is we have amazing arguments for God's existence, really powerful, rational arguments for God's existence.
Empirical evidence.
Let me just finish. No, not necessarily. Empirical data evidence is not the only way to truth. There's many routes to knowledge, right? And we'll touch upon this. Let me finish the point. The point we need to understand is this. When it comes to God's existence, we have really strong rational arguments too. However, I believe that God is a necessary reality, which we can't deny. So I believe you don't have the luxury of questioning God's existence. And I'll tell you why. Because for you to question God's existence, you have to employ reason and rationality, right? For us to even have a discussion. Logic based on our rational faculties, right?
So because logic
Let me just
exists,
finish the point.
So you're saying because logic exists, God exists?
No, I'm not saying that. If you let me make my point, then you won't have to assume my position. What I'm saying is that as human beings, we have to employ rationality to have a discussion. Even when it comes to questioning God's existence, we have to have a rational discussion, right? We have to use reason. My point is that I would say you cannot provide an account for reason in the absence of God anyway. So you need God for you to be able to stand here and have a discussion.
Do you understand how that's circular logic?
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
How is it circular?
Because you just said in order for you to comprehend me, you need to have God in the first place.
I'm saying this. Let me clarify more. What I'm saying is, as human beings, you and me would acknowledge we're rational beings.
I don't acknowledge anything because I don't make any prescriptive claims.
So would you claim you're rational?
I can't make any claims.
So then why are you having a discussion with me?
Why?
Because hold on a second. For you to have a discussion with me, you have to come with the assumption that you have the rational faculties to understand what I'm saying and process what I'm saying so we can have a discussion.
Then that means you have to be completely trusting of your senses.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, do you accept that you have rational faculties which are sound enough for you to have a discussion with me? Do you believe this?
The thing is though, when you
do you believe this?
Hold on, I'll explain. When you say that, you're asking me to be rational to believe in something that is irrational. Do you not see how that doesn't work?
No, now you're being circular. What I'm saying is something very simple. What I'm saying is, let's go back to the original point. For you to have a discussion with me right now,
asking me to trust my senses.
I'm asking you, I'm not saying trust your senses, I'm saying, do you acknowledge that you are a rational human being that has the ability to have a dialogue and understand and reason and come to truth?
I can't justify the claim to say that I'm rational because there's nothing to prove that.
So then why have this discussion if you don't believe you're rational?
Why not?
Okay, look, I'll tell you why. Having a discussion right now, if I give you a reason for God's existence, just hear me out, I'm not trying to debate with you. If I give you a reason for God's existence, what you're going to do is you're going to stand there, you're going to process it, and you're going to decide whether you accept what I'm saying or not, right?
See, now you're making the question.
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you I'm not assuming anything on your part. What I'm saying is what we do as human beings. If I have a discussion with this guy, if I make a point, the other person processes it and comes to a decision whether they agree or disagree. Are you going to do that in this discussion?
I'm going to try my best.
Okay, so for you to do that, you have to assume that you have rational faculties which are functioning well enough for you to be able to do that. Do you accept that?
I accept that assumption.
Okay, good. So you accept that you're a rational human being that has the ability.
Rational human being.
We all assume it, but
because you can only prove mathematics. You can't prove anything. You can't prove that.
Okay, is that true? Is that true?
Yeah, only mathematics.
Yes, you're saying it's true?
You can only prove mathematics.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
In terms of science.
So you saying yes is your acknowledgement that you have rationally come to the conclusion that mathematics is the only way to truth. That's your conclusion.
No, I'm saying mathematics can be empirically proven.
You're being contradictory now, bro. Look, with all due respect, what I'm saying is, look, be consistent in your position. Otherwise, no, you're not. Because on one end you're saying, I don't know if I'm rational. On the other end you're saying you're making truth claims such as mathematics is the only way to truth.
You can look at it on paper. You can take the data and you can say 1 + 1 = 2.
Okay, good. So so when you look, let me ask you this: when you see 1 + 1 = 2 on paper, for you to see that and understand that, you need to be rational.
But no, you don't, because you don't have to understand it. You can look at it and accept something. And you don't.
Is 1 + 1 2? Okay, let me ask you, is 1 + 1 6?
No.
Okay, look, you've just demonstrated your rational faculties.
No, you just like cognitive abilities, not rationality.
Okay. Do you accept that you as a human being have cognitive faculties which function and allow you to attain or understand truth?
Allow me to perceive facts as I hear them.
Do you believe you have those?
I believe I have the ability to perceive, because I'm not making any yes or no.
Yeah, I know, because this is the problem, because what you're doing is, on one end you are making truth claims, on the other end you're denying the faculties you need to make the truth claims.
But the thing is that when you
have to be consistent, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Because now you're using an argument of hypocrisy.
No, I'm not. Look, bro, it's all, I've been there. A few years ago, I was all into these terms, as all the fallacy of this, the argument of this. Let's keep it very simple. What I'm saying is this, bro. As human beings, for us to...
So should we go back to the original?
Okay, look, let me ask everyone. I would love to, just if you don't mind, just give me a few moments, let me just address this individual. Look, would everyone here understand, when you have a rational discussion with someone, I'm saying rational because we assume it anyway. When you have a discussion with someone, what you're doing is you're assuming you're rational, so you can understand each other's position and come to an understanding whether you agree or disagree, right? You have to assume rationality.
So we're going to assume rationality.
I do. Everyone here does. Does everyone here believe they're rational? To the extent that they can have a discussion.
Yes, that's a better statement. I can assume that we can be rational. That's fair.
You can assume?
We can assume that we can be rational in this discussion.
Okay, yeah, we assume we can be rational. If you don't start with that assumption, bro, then it's pointless having a discussion. You have to assume that.
Yeah, I get that. You have to presuppose from one position. You have to presuppose the idea that we're both going to be rational, which is that kind of presupposition is fine. However, when you presuppose...
Now let me make an original point. We presuppose that we're rational as human beings, so we can have a rational discussion, right? Now what I'm saying is, to account for that ability you have, you can't make sense of it in the absence of God. I'm not saying you don't have it.
Do you see how that's circular?
How is it circular?
Because in order for me to be rational, you have to say God exists. So if I'm saying...
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to my point. I'm saying we are rational. I'm the one that's trying to make you believe you're rational, bro. You're the one that's denying it. I'm saying we are rational. If you're an atheist, are you an atheist?
I'm an agnostic.
You're an agnostic, fine. What I'm saying, and this was my whole discussion with you a few minutes ago, is I'm telling you we are rational. Whatever worldview you hold, whatever position, whether you're an atheist, whoever you are, fine. We are rational as human beings.
So you presuppose that we're both rational.
We have to have a discussion to some extent.
So,
we have to be rational enough to have a honest discussion which can lead us to some form of truth.
Fine.
Yeah?
Okay.
So we accept that. So, okay, good. So what I'm saying now is that presupposition we have accepted. What I'm saying is, I'm not denying it. I'm not saying as an agnostic you can't have it. I'm saying you do have it. I'm saying what worldview best makes sense of that presupposition? Which worldview best makes sense of that reality? That's what I'm asking. Is it atheism, agnosticism, or is it Islam? That's the question. So what I'm trying to show you is that in the absence of God, on agnosticism or atheism, you cannot provide an account for that ability that you do have.
How do you not see that it's circular?
It isn't.
In order for you to have that belief, God has to exist. Do you see how that's not circular?
No, what I'm saying is, the only account you can give for it, you can have it, you can be rational, not be able to explain it and say you're an atheist. You can do that. Because I'm assuming that already. I'm assuming you're rational, you're an agnostic. Right? What I'm saying is, you cannot account for that ability in the absence of God.
That is circular logic right there.
That isn't. I'm saying it's a simple question. Okay, you account for it. The ball's in your court.
In order for me to have my this rational train of thought, God has to exist. Because I have this rational train of thought,
I'm saying God is the best explanation.
How do you not see that is circular?
No, I'm saying God is the best explanation for your rational faculties. You can't make sense of them otherwise.
No.
Look, ball's in your court. Okay. Show me how you account for your rational faculties in the absence.
I don't assume to know, but at the same time, I don't use circular logic, which is impossible.
It's the best explanation. I'll tell you what. Okay, I'll show you as the best explanation. God created us, gave us rational faculties, so we can understand the world around us, and it can lead us to His worship. Simple.
Okay, so let's break this down again. We both said we both have rational.
Sorry, madam.
Do you believe the entire Quran?
Yes.
So it's okay to kill infidels?
I'm going to address your question, but let me just finish with one individual. I would love to address you, man. Yeah?
So you've accepted that we're both rational, okay? You've made that claim. You've therefore gone to elaborate that.
I've asked you, do you accept that as well? Initially, you didn't accept it, and then you did accept it.
For the sake of this discussion.
No, bro, come on. Let's be honest here, bro.
Hold on, let me finish my point.
Yeah, not for the sake of the discussion. Yeah.
In order for us to have that rationality, God has to exist. Okay?
I'm saying God. No.
God has given us that
I'm saying God is the best explanation for our ability, our rational abilities, which cannot be accounted for in the absence of God.
How is that the best explanation? Because you're not giving any kind of.
I did. I just said it. You didn't listen.
So that's your personal bias, your subjective opinion.
No. Again, you're not listening to me. I gave you the explanation. God created God, the all-powerful creator. Okay. Go with my reasoning for a second. Created the human being, made him rational, which he could do because he's all-powerful. Gave us the ability to reason, so that could lead us to his worship.
Why do you not say that circular? God gave us the ability to be logical. Because we have the ability, because logic exists, you are saying God exists. Do you not see how that is circular?
I'm asking you, how do you account for your rational faculties?
Disingenuous right now. You are saying you are though. We both said that you said that we're both rational, right? Okay.
I asked you. You initially.
This is a yes or no question. No, you said that we're both rational, right?
Let you say it, then ask me.
Because of our rationality existing, that rationality is the proof that accounts for the existence of God. How is that not circular? Because we are here, we have now said that we're rational. Because we are both rational, we now come to the conclusion that God exists. That is literally the definition of circular logic, which you have been dancing around this entire point.
You don't understand circular reasoning.
You don't even understand modus ponens, which is the main thought of logical thought.
Listen. To save the philosophical terms, they're relevant.
Why?
Because I know them.
Relevant.
No, I'm saying, look,
you can't even identify circular logic now. I broke it down in the simplest way possible, and you do not understand how you're being completely circular.
You're not listening now. Look, it's not. If you want to win the debate, you won the debate, bro. But let's have a discussion. I'm trying to have a discussion with you.
I'm fine with your belief. Okay, I'm fine with you presupposing the existence of God. But if you accept that it's an irrational viewpoint here because of the lack of logical consistency in your argument, I would have more respect.
Hear me out now, please. Yeah, just listen to me. What I'm saying to you, what I said to you was, I believe God is a necessary reality to not only make sense of our rational faculties, but many other things about reality, right? One of the things I pointed out to you, the point I was making was, God is the best explanation to account for this ability that we have, this assumption that we begin with, to have even a discussion. You initially rejected rational faculties. You said I don't know if I'm rational. Then I said to you, look, if you're not even willing to accept that you're rational, how can we have a discussion? Then you accepted that, right? Now all I'm saying to you, the ball is in your court, bro. Prove me wrong.
I've explained to you how you're circular, you're denying it.
It's not. What you're saying is I'm rational, there's no explanation for it, but I'm rational. You can do that if you like.
So you're saying autonomous human reasoning doesn't exist?
Sorry?
Autonomous human reasoning doesn't exist.
Explain what you mean.
The ability to pick something up and decide, oh, this is heavy.
I'm saying it does exist. I'm the one that's arguing that for you.
Okay.
I'm arguing that for you, bro. That's what I was doing for the first 5 minutes. What I'm saying to you is, on atheism, I'm not sure if you're an atheist or not. Okay, what's your position? Do you believe there is a creator?
I believe there could be, but I don't see any empirical evidence and nothing to prove me otherwise.
Why do you assume there has to be empirical evidence for everything?
Because otherwise it's irrational.
Do you have parents?
Hold on. Do you have parents? If you were blind, and I just turned around and told you that the sky was green, would you believe me?
Okay, listen. Do you have parents?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe your parents are your parents?
To the best of my degree, yes.
Okay.
Without a DNA test, I can't be sure.
So till this day, how old are you?
30.
You're 30 years old and you don't know if your parents are your parents till this day?
No.
Have you done a DNA test?
I've assumed.
Have you done a DNA test? Have you done a DNA test?
Okay, now you're strong.
No, hold on. I'm asking you. I'm not strong, man. I'm asking you.
I haven't done a DNA test.
But you don't find it necessary to do a DNA test right now because right now you don't believe in your own parents?
Well, no, because they're taking care of it.
No, bro. You're not being... This is called being disingenuous. Of course you believe your parents are your parents.
You've cherry-picked.
Bro, you know what? You're going around in circles.
Exactly. Listen, you accepted that your logic is circular.
No. I'm just trying to highlight to you now that empirical data is not the only way to truth. What I'm trying to tell you is that you believe your parents are your parents, not based on empirical data. It's not based on empirical data.
It's based on a presupposition.
What's it based on? Tell me.
It's based on my idea that I believe them to be.
No. Where did the idea come from? How did you develop the idea that your parents are your parents?
See, now you're deconstructing.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you, how did you develop the idea?
I presuppose. I just assumed. That is a presupposition.
No, it's based on the testimony of your parents. It's based on testimony. Yeah, it's not based on empirical data. Of course, you can get a DNA test, no doubt. I agree, but you haven't got it yet. Right now, you believe your parents are your parents. Hopefully, you do, based on testimony.
Yes, because I have no reason to believe otherwise.
proving my point exactly, which is that you don't need empirical data to believe in things, always. Empiricism is one route to knowledge, I agree. It's not the only route to knowledge, you've just proven that.
I've also told you that.
Do you understand what you've done?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, good.
I also accept you. I presuppose that they're parents. Now that's a logically inconsistent point.
No, what do you mean presuppose, bro? Look, define.
Do you know what presupposition is?
Yeah, I know, but you're not presupposing. You're not just saying, "Oh, I believe these are my parents," because I could just say, "I believe my neighbors are my parents." You don't do that. No, you don't do that, bro. You believe your parents are your parents based on testimony. You have good reasons to believe that. I'm not denying that. But what I'm showing you is your reasons for believing your parents are your parents aren't empirical reasons. You can do DNA tests, but you don't believe in your parents right now based on a DNA test.
So then you're showing that it's irrational and there's nothing I can
No, what I'm showing you, if you listen to me, what I'm telling you, I'm highlighting, is there are many routes to knowledge. Empiricism is one of them. It's not the only way to truth. Therefore, hear me out.
Yeah.
Therefore, when you try asking for empirical data for God's existence, you're holding a flawed position. Why? You don't need empirical data. First and foremost, God is beyond the physical. You don't need empirical data. Do you believe China exists?
Yes, obviously.
Have you been China?
I have.
You have? Okay. Do you believe Africa exists?
To some, yeah.
Have you been Africa?
Been South Africa, yeah.
Okay, but have you been to the heart of Africa?
Nope.
No, but you believe it exists. Why do you believe it exists?
Because there's data, there's satellite
What's
imagery,
the data? Give me specific.
satellite imagery.
So how do you know the satellite image is actually the heart of Africa? How do you know someone has not just told you that?
See, now you're not being consistent because now you're saying it.
What I'm highlighting to you is that although you've seen a picture of the heart of Africa, someone is telling you that this is Central Africa. It's again testimony. It's not empirical data, bro.
It is. Are you saying maps are empirical data?
They are
cartography.
maps. No, maps are physical things which you observe, but you believe they're a map of a particular thing based on the testimony of someone telling you.
No, based upon the input of data.
No, it's based on the testimony of someone telling you this is the map of this place.
Originally, yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But since we've developed satellite imagery,
that's fine. But it proves my point anyway, which is that there are many routes to knowledge.
Well, no, because in the
do you acknowledge that?
Well, no, hold on a second. Because you're using a straw man right now. Satellite imagery has.
Sorry, madam. I know you've been waiting.
But I'm going to leave here believing Muslims.
Can I get someone else to speak to you about that question? Muslim, can you speak to this lady, please? She's got a question.
I've actually got to go. But the last thing I'm going to say here.
But bro, do you acknowledge that there are other routes to knowledge?
No, sure. Prior to the existence of empirical data in the form of map making, through satellite imagery, through planes, through drones and stuff, yes, it was taking the opinion of someone else.
Bro,
however, now that we've been able to prove it with empirical data.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Even today, let me give you a modern example, bro. Within the field of science, the empirical field, right? Most scientists base their current work, on the testimony of previous scientists. Do you acknowledge this? Do you understand this?
That's why it's called theoretical physics.
No,
it is.
Bro, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Call it whatever you want. What I'm saying is that it's based on the testimony and the work of previous scientists. Testimony is an integral route to knowledge you can't dismiss. That's what I'm saying to you. Because you came with a presupposition that empiricism is the only way to truth. It's not. Do you acknowledge that?
I never said it's the only way to truth.
Okay, so fine. We agree then on that point, right? Now my point is then when it comes to God, why do you assume that there has to be only empirical? Why do you ask for empirical data when you acknowledge there's other routes to knowledge?
Why can't I ask?
I'll tell you why not. Because God is not a part of the physical universe. He's distinct and disjoint from the physical universe. He created the physical, not a part of the physical. Therefore, you can't physically prove it. You cannot empirically prove or disprove God's existence. Simple.
So then why believe it?
So I can give you other reasons now, because you're open now to the understanding there's other routes to knowledge. Would you like other reasons?
Not right now, because I actually have to go.
You have to go? Okay, maybe when you're here next time we can have that discussion. Have you read the Quran?
I have not.
Okay, would you do me a favor? Read some of the Quran by next discussion. Read the 112th chapter, if anything, just the 112th chapter.
Next time.
And then we'll discuss it. But at least can we conclude on this point so we can carry on the discussion? You agree there's other routes to knowledge other than empiricism, yeah? And that we as human beings are rational enough to have a discussion.
And you still that we're capable of being rational.
I want an answer from you next time as to how you account for rational faculties on your worldview.
I can't.
Maybe next time when you come back next time you can come with something. Yeah? Thank you. Have a nice day.